Hello! Before I jump into things, I just want to say a quick thank you for all the support that everyone has shown for the channel. So, thanks. I really do appreciate it, and I'm glad you guys like my stuff. Alright, on to the show. One of the beautiful things about SWTOR is that the gearing process is pretty straightforward. You get tech frags by completing content, you spend those tech frags on sets and tacticals, and then you min-max those sets with armoring, mods, and enhancements. It's relatively straightforward. However, if you're just getting started, you might not know which sets and tacticals you should be going for in the first place. Fortunately for you, Daddy Biggs is here to help you out. Now, this video is not an in-depth look at stats. I do not have time to go over every single spec in detail in this video. If you have questions about what stats you should be running while playing a particular spec, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Another disclaimer, this is not saying that none of the other sets and tacticals can work in specific situations. If you find something you like, by all means do run with it. I'm not the set bonus police. However, these are generally accepted to be the go-to sets and tacticals for each class. As a reminder, you can buy sets and tacticals in the supply section of the fleet, located in the top left corner of Imp Fleet and the bottom right corner of Pub Fleet. Alright, let's start with Jugs and Guardians. For all specs, including tanks, start with Descent of the Fearless for all content. The damage bonus is significant, which is great for DPS and for threat generation on tanks. In PvP, you might consider going for Forcebound, as it is stupidly overpowered at the moment and makes for a great defensive option on all specs. Do note that Forcebound is crafted, so either level up those crafters or reach for those credits and buy it on the GTN. For tacticals in PvP, just take Grit Teeth. It's a heal to 4 every 45 seconds and makes up for the lack of defensives these classes face. Tanks should still rock Grit Teeth in PvE for the same reason as above, it's a heal to full, plus the other tanking tacticals are kinda dookie. However, Grit Teeth is another crafted tactical, so if you're broke and can't afford it, you can settle for the Horde's Makashi Strike. Vigilance and Vengeance players should pick up Hemophilic Slash for single target, and then pick up Cut to Pieces for AoE memes and fun. Meanwhile, Rage and Focus players should really just take Cauterized Coronary, just full stop, it's really the best one. Alright, for Marauders and Sentinels, we're going to be taking the same set recommendations as the Jugs and Guardians. So Descent of the Fearless as your first set for the DPS, and then pick up Forcebound for the team-wide defensive that it provides, assuming you have the credits to buy it. In PvP content, all Sentinels and Marauders should be taking Defelled Splice Genes. The defensive utility that this tactical provides is so strong that you really shouldn't go without it. For Annihilation and Watchman players in PvE, pick up Spiteful Saber, it's going to make your life a lot easier. For Carnage and Combat, pick up Feigned God Form, it's going to make the playstyle a lot more fun, or just respec if you have a brain. For Fury and Concentration, picked up Cauterized Coronary, it's going to add a little bit extra damage to your already very smooth rotation. Alright, for Assassins and Shadows, all specs should really just run Death Knell for the high DPS and improve threat generation. Tanks have the option of running Efficient Termination if they want to be a little bit beefier, but in my opinion, you're pretty beefy as it is, so I would take the extra DPS provided by Death Knell. In PvP, all players should be running 2 Cloaks, as the improved defensive utility and survivability is extremely important to your PvP experience. For tanks in PvE, you can actually still take 2 Cloaks, because the extra shroud is going to be your best friend. It's going to give you a little more defensives to be really nice. However, if that sounds boring to you, you can also take Friend of the Force to help your allies stay alive. In PvE, Deception and Infiltration should take Awakened Flame for their single target, it's going to be free damage, or you can take May Cause Injury for AoE memes. Hatred and Serenity should pick up 2 Time Trouble first, it's your default tactical for DPS, and later you should pick up Quick Escalation just for the pure memes. Sorc and Sage healers should pick up the Empowered Restores set first. There are some other options, but this is going to be the best all around. For your tactical, pick up One for All if you want to focus healing one player, and then pick up All for One if you want to focus on AoE heals. All Sorc and Sage DPS specs should go Gathering Storm for their set bonus. It's frankly overpowered and busted, you won't want to go without it. For the tacticals, Lightning Sorcs and Telekinetic Sages should go with the Stormwatch tactical for free damage, and then Madness Sorc and Balance Sages should take Templars of Row for single target, and then Slow Mercy for AoE. All snipers and gunslingers should pick up the Established Foothold set for PvE and your intro to PvP, but once you get into high level PvP, you might want to consider taking up the Repositioning set. For Marksman, Snipers, and Sharpshooter Gunslingers, you should take Agitating Energies for free PvE damage and don't have to be juggling your Corrosive Dart, which is very nice. And then the BO Differential Targeting System for PvP for those massive, meaty burst criticals. Engineering and Saboteur players should take up the Ruthless Interrogation tactical for PvE. It's going to keep your interrogation probe on the target for longer and do more damage. It's very nice. And then the T0R0 Ionic Discharge for PvP for those massive, meaty criticals. For Virulence and Dirty Fighting, go Exploited Weakness first for free damage, and then if you want to get into AoE situations, you can pick up Airborne Agents. All operatives and scoundrels should take Tacticians as their first set, regardless of what content you're doing. It's going to provide a flat DPS boost, but once you get into higher levels of PvP, the DPS classes can swap out for the Debilitator set for the extra defensives and the extra stuns. Healers should take Regenerative Waves for AoE healing to start off with. It's simply the best. For the DPS, things get a little more interesting. In PvE, Scrapper and Concealment players are going to want to take Acid Lash for the free damage, but in PvP, Volatile Strike will be the best for you Scrapper and Concealment players. It just has ridiculous amount of burst damage, which is king in PvP right now. For Lethality and Ruffian players, you should pick up Senax Shots for PvE and then Viral Elements for PvP memes. You will be very happy with how both of these tacticals perform in their different situations. Mercenary and Commando players will always benefit from picking up the Concentrated Fire set bonus for all their specs. Healers have the option of going for Tech Medic, but that's only if you want to only heal. It is useless for the other specs. So Concentrated Fire will still work for healers, so it's what I recommend everyone go for first. Additionally, I know that Arsenal and Gunnery players have the option of picking up the Apex Predator set bonus down the line, but you have to grind Duxon to get it, so I don't recommend picking this as your first set you're going for. Alright, now healers, you're going to want to pick up the SC-4 Treatment Scanner as your first tactical, and later pick up Running Restoration if you're ever forced to tank heal. Arsenal and Gunnery players have the option of picking up Primed Ignition for all content sustained damage, or pick up Burning Bright if you want a little more burst damage in your PvP. Innovative Ordinance players and Assault Specialist players should almost always run Energized Charges. It's just the best. It's the go-to for everything. Alright, last but not least, we have Powertechs and Vanguards. You actually have a lot of surprisingly decent options here, but the first go-to option is always going to be the Meteor Brawler set bonus for all of the specs. The increased damage and the better heat management is going to be very beneficial to every single person that plays one of these classes, and then later on down the line you can go for like Right Price or Veteran Ranger, but that comes later. Tanks, Pyrotechs, and Plasmatechs should just go with Superheated Fuel for the pure DPS boost. It's just the best, and all the tanking tacticals are pretty dookie. Finally, Advanced Prototypes and Tactics players should always go with Power Load as their first tactical. I know this video isn't exactly the most thrilling of content, but it's important for you new players that are just getting into 75 who aren't quite sure what to do with their tech frags or where to start the gearing process. I hope this has been helpful for you as you start to get geared for high-end content. So that's all I got. Thank you guys for your support over the past couple months. I really do appreciate it. Things have calmed down a little bit over here on the real life front, so I'm hoping to get more of these helpful guides out there for you people who are just starting your SWTOR journey in the near future. All right, well, that's all, folks. Peace.